Well, good morning. I have been using flow frames for quite a few years now. I guess 4 or 5 years. And what's happened is this last time the wax had been building up. It appears that what happens is every time you put the flow frames to the bees, they coat it with wax. And after a few years, like in my case, what happens is that wax buildup gets so thick in there that the frames won't function like they would. In other words, when you crank it, they don't open as like they should and close like they should. And also, this last time, just a while ago, I had a problem getting the honey out, because even though I was able to get the cells open, there was too much wax in there for them to for the honey to drain and come out. So I ended up having to bring the supers, a couple of them, back to the shop, and then open and close them several times, and then finally the honey was able to drain. So what happens over the years is there's so much wax buildup that the frames become pretty non-functional. Now I looked online and on YouTube to find out, well, what do people do to clean these frames, and some people are taking them all apart, and I've got as you can see, a whole bunch of these flow supers, and that would just be ridiculous, so we're not going to take them apart. And the founder of the flow frame, Stuart, was suggesting that he had some luck with the pressure washer. So I tried that, even with the tip that rotates and has a high pressure, and it wasn't very good. So what I've done is, it turns out that beeswax melts around 170, I understand, and of course water boils at 212, so I've figured that I could dip them in boiling water and the wax would flow to the surface, and it turns out that's exactly the case. So I was wanting to share this as being a way that you might want to take flow frames like this one here, that is way too occluded with wax to be of service, and restore them to just like new by getting all the wax off. So I was wanting to show you. I've got a pot boiling over here, and let me turn this off and get my gloves on. Okay, so I'm going to take this frame that you can see is quite waxed up, and dip it in the hot water, and swish it around a little bit just to give that a chance to get the wax loose. And as you see, there's a lot of burr comb also on the bottom, and rather than having to scrape that off, this just comes off. And you'll see there's a little pollen in there, which I like to leave. That keeps the bees thinking this is a good place to store things. But as you can see, very quickly you can get your frames back to function. And then this is only half deep, so I'll turn it around and do the other half. Yeah, I've done a number of them, and the wax is on here, because what happens is when I pull this frame out, the wax that's floating will leave a coating on the flow frame, which I think is probably a good idea, because it'll encourage the bees to use it again. But very easily, very quickly, I can go through a lot of frames like this, and you can see the difference for the before and after. I'll put it back up here, and you can see what it used to look like and what it looks like now. So if you have flow frames and you've been using them for a number of years, and you're finding after 2 or 3 or 4 years that the cells aren't opening good and you need to clean it, well, this is the way to do it. Is just get a big old pot boiling, one of those turkey fryer pots or deep stock pots or something, and then just dip them in the boiling water, and in a couple of minutes per frame you can get them all slicked up and clean. You can see how clean this one is, probably in the sun, and it's ready to go. We've restored it to almost like new. Okay, thank you.